Okay, so here I am going live in the private group. This is my private group for collectors of my art and members of the Magic Circle. So looking forward to see a few of you joining today. This is probably my second ever live, so I'm still trying to get used to all the tech. Not really sure how it all works, to be honest. I'm going to turn my screen around and show you, excuse the creaking. This is the painting that we're going to be working on. So, hopefully you can all see that clearly. So, I'm going to be painting the windows today into the castle. So, you can see there, if I perhaps zoom in a little bit, so you can see the castle more clearly. Just move that around a bit. I've already marked in some of the long windows that will be in this turret here. And then this is the Great Hall part of the castle. So somewhere here, I think probably these ones down the bottom are where you would see most of the light, and then any windows further up would potentially be darker. Not quite sure if that's going to work or not. So we'll see how it goes. And then here in the turret, I think I might put some just little tiny dots for windows, just so it looks like there's somebody in there. And maybe up here, coming round in a circle to imagine that you're going up maybe a spiral staircase that goes up inside. So the first thing to do is to get the paint sorted out. So this is the yellow paint that I like to use. So I use Griffin Alkyd. It's an oil colour, and the Alkyd version dries faster. So it dries within about 24 hours, which means you can put another coat on top. And this is Winsor Yellow. As you can see, the top disappeared a few months ago and got crusty and hard. So now I have to squeeze it out the bottom. So I'll just squeeze a little bit of that out onto the palette. This is where I get yellow everywhere, because you squeeze and it doesn't come out, then all of a sudden it'll come out in a great big squirt. There we go. Then the next colour is going to be this one again, Griffin Alkyd, and it's titanium white. So it's just a nice mixing white. Squeeze a bit of that one out. And then I'm going to use a little bit of this one. Oops, mind the arm of the thing. This one is Winsor Red, and again, Griffin Alkyd. So add a bit of that to the palette. And now I can mix my colour. And I have got these little tubs here, and I put the oil in the linseed oil in one side and then the white spirit in the other. The linseed oil is for mixing with the oil paints to make it flow better, and the white spirit is for cleaning off the end of your brush when you've finished with that paint and maybe you want to reuse the brush again. So let's select one of my brushes. A number of Old Faithful collections. Right, so this one is the one I'm going to use, and it's called a script brush. Again, originally designed for writing with, but I find it gives me quite good control on the detail. So let's get a bit of mixing done. So first, maybe if I show you there, we can actually mix some of the orange colour. So put a bit of white together and a bit of yellow. Need a bit more oil. So you can see it gives it a good flow. It's a little bit too bright, so just a touch of red, just to make it a bit warmer. I want the windows to feel sort of warm and welcoming. So I think that looks about right. Can always mix more if you need it. So add a bit more oil for flow. Make sure there's no bristles sticking out. Okay, so I'll probably be quite quiet whilst I'm just adding in the colour. I think that's a little bit bright. I'm going to warm that up. I'm going to add some red and add a bit more yellow. Just take off some of the whiteness. Make the colour more intense, basically, more pigmented. Add more of the pigment to it. That's better. This is more like a fire colour. So you can see the difference now on the brush. Let's just see what that looks like. So if I don't like it, then I can paint over it. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Might have gone too far the other way now. That's the great thing about oil paints, is you can just dive in there and change it, overpaint, add a bit more. What do you think to that? Just angle it slightly. Ooh, I think that looks like really welcoming now. I like that. So now I'm going to just put some little tiny dots. So for that, I'm going to change my brush, and I'm going to use this brush because it's got a very fine point to it. Extremely fine, actually. So I'll take some dots on the end of the brush. And then I might even need a smaller brush. Just put some very small little dots. Just to indicate some lights. Okay, so now we're going to do the windows of the Great Hall. What I might do is get some black and then just run around the outsides of the windows to tidy them up. Just so that they're level. It really looks now like there's a lot going on inside that great hall. Makes me wonder what it would be like to be inside a building like that. And I've based this one on Hogwarts, but any sort of fantasy castle really. I just love the idea of a magical castle. In the films where they talk about the stairs that move and become different stairs, and then there's a false step that people have to remember to jump over so they don't get stuck in it. What a wonderful imagination to think of all those things. So here, in this bit, just want some narrow lights. And we want some tiny dots at the top, don't we? So for that, I'm using the same brush, but I'm just ladening up the very tip with paint. I think that might be enough actually. So now I'm going to blend upwards and outwards the some of this colour, because there'll be windows above. So I almost want like a hint of light, I think, coming through from the lower sections. There's a very noisy crow outside. Keeps flying by my window of the studio, making a lot of racket. There's definitely people in there now. So now I'm just going to blend this gently. And then what I'll do is I will paint around the windows to give them a frame and straighten them up a little bit so they look like they've landed in the castle. Okay, so there we go. Just take this phone out of the holder a minute. and zoom back out. And see what you think. So thanks very much for dropping into this really quick live, just 15 minutes to show you the castle. I've now got a few other bits and pieces to do. So I've got to film this chap over my shoulder here. I've got a little turntable, and it helps to put him on the turntable and then let the turntable revolve, and then I can film that and use that for my adverts for my shop and for the listings. And it's ever so good. So I've got him to do, and then I've got the werewolf, and then a few other sculptures. So keep your eyes peeled for the next instalment. And I think the next live, I'm going to go back to the Woodland Man and add a few more bits and pieces to his painting now that oil's dry. Okay, so see you all again soon. Thanks for joining in. Bye bye.